Welcome back to another episode of Size Previews. As always, I'm Lee Matthews, joined by Chris Binns, so sit back, relax, and let's get into it. So in the last episode, we introduced the All team, aka the All Black, and I mean, we kind of hinted that there's something else coming.
Well, the response has been mad. Like, I had so many people asking me which ones are coming. Are you going to bring this one back here, bring that one back? We've got answers for you here.
We've got a little answer, and it's almost part one of the answer. Part two will be next year, but part one of the answer is, yeah, it is, and it's the All Green. And I mean, you can't really look online for pictures of All Black without people with the collection that has All Green alongside it.
I mean, it's the next one, let's be honest, and it's the next one we wanted to do. We've done All Black, we've got it amazing, all the materials are spot on, we've done that we've got it as close to the original as possible. And then we were like, which one do we want to do next? And for me, it's the most obvious one, but that doesn't mean it's not, it's because it's the best one as well.
Totally. I think what's quite nice about this shoe is it feels like, a lot of times we use quite similar materials on our executions. This one, it doesn't. I've not actually seen this leather used in a long, well, I can't remember the last time this leather was used. That leather's insane. Yeah. Same on the heel, the collar lining, the tongue, the stripes. The execution on this is next level.
What I would say is that, again, we're gonna have that same thing where you've got people referencing other versions of this. We know fully there's been, well, hundreds of versions of this over the years, do you know what I mean? And we just wanted to get it as close to the version that we see as the best version.
Yeah, it's a good point. I think it's probably worth touching on. Obviously, certain toolings aren't available anymore, certain molds don't exist anymore. We've referenced this in the past in the lost ones as well. Yeah. So when people reference certain things, yeah, sometimes it's not possible to do that. But what we also want to do is almost look at that long lineage of executions and which one fits really credibly into that timeline of executions. What one has the DNA and pays homage to what that shoe is, but potentially interprets it of what's realistic for today as well. Yeah. We'll always try and make them as one-to-one reissues as possible, always. We know that. But we also have to work within the realms of what's possible and also what makes sense as well.
Because I think one of the biggest feedbacks coming back to this from the last ones from the All Black was that the fact that the name wasn't on the side of the shoe and people were referencing it was always on the side of the shoe. It's not. No. There was versions without it on, hence the reason we took it off. If every single version had it on, we would have probably put it on. Even though we can't call it the official name, we would have probably still put it on the side. So there is versions without it on, and we decided to go with that version because we couldn't have the accurate name.
The other part of the feedback was, why is all the branding in white? Well, on the references, the versions we reference, the branding's in white. Yeah. So if people say, oh, it should be all black, the shoe should be all black, well, again, we try and pay homage and use the DNA and all the little details from the original shoes as well. So that's why the branding was white, again, to nod back to them versions in the catalogues. So it's a tricky one because we realise and understand all the feedback and we always appreciate it and we'd love more of it. But we also have to work within the realms of what makes sense from a lineage perspective and what kind of fits in the next installment. So this next shoe you won't have seen come in, but you will have seen what we've referenced for it. So in 2020, we did a ZX10000 sample and it was a triple black with a really interesting materialization and it never made it, but we did send the shoe out into the world in various guises and the response was crazy. So we've actually interpreted it on the Equipment Support 93 because it's a shoe that's probably quite underrepresented in the marketplace and typically seen as quite a sporty shoe. So just look at it like that.
I mean, we're massive fans of this shoe, do you know what I mean? And that's why it was amazing we got a chance to work on it. We played around with a few ideas, a few things didn't work. We couldn't get them over the line, or it just didn't work. And in the end, we remembered this execution we'd done. It was amazing. We thought, let's apply that to it, and it's worked really well in the shoe. I mean, the shoe's a great shoe anyway, let's be honest. You could probably put anything on that shoe and it'd look great, but that execution works really well on it, and it's really good for this time. It's really winterized, really techie, like modern, but on a shoe that's an icon from the EQT collection.
Totally. I think when I firstly look at this shoe, obviously it's an equipment shoe, it's built for purpose. It was very much sporty. It's grounded in the iconic colours. Obviously, they're always quite sporty colours, white meshes, and then again the pops of colour. Over the years, it still felt quite sporty. And what I like about this is it takes it into that whole utilitarian space. And we know that when it gets these winterized executions, there's a massive sort of relationship with the consumer that they really buy into these products. And how many times people reference to us, the most worn shoe of the City Series was the Stuttgart because it was the easiest and it was the most winterized.
This shoe takes it to the next level just because of the materials we used on it. Do you know what I mean? They are that level above of just level and it's also an icon because we've seen some great collaborations over the years on this shoe. Do you know what I mean? I can name 3 or 4 off the top of my head now, which are iconic. But I'm just excited to kind of work on the shoe, and we might be working on the shoe again at some point in the future, before the end of the year, potentially.
So in 2020, we did the 3 iconic goals from the European tournaments, and the Gaza Gazelle has gone down in folklore, hasn't it?
That shoe is ridiculous. Every single time a tournament is on, we see that shoe come out, people posting it on the pages. I'm amazed that some people still got it in such good condition, because it's a couple of years old now, and we see a lot of people wearing it. Weird story. When I was in Margate a few weeks back, I went to Margate on my holidays, by the way. I've seen 2 people wearing it within the space of an hour.
Did you?
Yeah, which is great. We wanted to kind of recreate that moment from the Euros, didn't we? We know the World Cup's coming up, and we wanted to do something around that.
Exactly. So the World Cup's coming up, but we felt, let's not go down goals this route. Let's go down something a little bit different. So these are all inspired by moments. I'm not going to tell you the moment. You need to tell us what the moments are. But we'll tell you the games and a few other little clues along the way. So this is going to be a triple pack to reference the 3.
We'll do it. I'll bring all 3 out as one. We'll bring it all out together, yeah?
Okay. So it's going to sit across 3, and again, each shoe represents the game and the 2 teams. So you'll see each of them as medial lateral stripes. And again, should we go through the games?
We'll go through the games.
So we'll start off with AS250, a shoe that for us has been incredible since it landed.
Wow.
We've seen a massive resurgence in Samba, and I think for us, we're seeing people wear this shoe a lot different, aren't they?
Outside of your normal community who's buying it, a new kind of customers coming on board and buying that shoe, which is really interesting, Jimmy, and good for us. We really like to see these kind of shoes get out to another audience. I mean, this version is ridiculous. Like, again, well, I think the materialisations, the levers are spot on. The details are, it's all about the details of these shoes, of guessing what the moment is and what the game is.
So we'll take you back to 2006, and it's England versus Portugal. And you'll see again the stripes on the medial and the lateral side, and you'll also see the leather and the toe down is slightly different to the inline version, because it's, I'd say, a lot more premium. The inline version, we referenced the Japanese versions. This is our take on it. So just, it's a bit more tumbled, the leather, it's a bit softer on the toe down, but again, it fits into this narrative of what the story is. We've actually put the date on the collar of each of the shoes at the moment. That's all we're gonna say now for this one, was England, Portugal, 2006. So the next one, and this is another reference to the Gaza Gazelle. We had to put Gazelle Vintage in there. And this is 1998, and it's England, Argentina. Iconic game, and again, you'll see the medial lateral stripes in there. We also wanted another Gazelle with England on it to almost be part 2 of the Gaza Gazelle. We felt, what's the point in doing another white base shoe? But it felt very much in the England palette anyway, and naturally we want to be having 2 shoes that really celebrate England in the colours. And again, exactly the same details. And then finally,
this is a bit of a curve. Well, it's not a curveball, because it's probably one of the most iconic moments that's not England-based.
Yes.
I'd say. It's one of our most iconic moments that's not England-based, so it's not a curveball, but I think with this one, you will definitely be able to guess what the whole pack, what the moments are.
Potentially. So this is 2006. And it's France versus Italy. And again, Marathon TR, we've not worked on that shoe in a long time. It's so nice to work on it again. Put suede on it, which is typically not. It's usually mesh. It concludes the pack. And the final detail, I'll say, and you can interpret this however you want. They all have really nice red footbeds.
I'm trying to think of another clue here, but it could be quite more based towards my own football team. This one, the moment that we're talking about included an Everton legend. End of the day though, regardless, like we always say, the shoes are ridiculous again, and the materials have just been out of this world lately in the last few packs we've done. I mean, took it to that next level in regards to materials, haven't we?
Totally, and obviously it's nice little bits of detail, just the medial lateral stripes make it feel quite contemporary as well in the execution. And we talked earlier about people picking AS250 up. We've seen it wearing the same way people wear Samba. It's the same version of the shoe, but make it, again, maybe appeal to a wider audience than the shoes as well.
Yeah, massively.
So we're going to finish the episode, and you will have seen it coming because you will have probably voted for this shoe, with the next instalment of the Resize project. And we use the word a lot, but I feel this is an actual representation and definition of the word grail. So in 2004, obviously we all know the reference, the Californian state flag. The dunk reinterpreted the colours of the flag And one thing I do want to say, and I mean, people may know more than us in terms of context, I always thought there was 444 pairs.
That was always a rumour, there's 444 pairs, but I'm sure that's been like debunked in the last few years. I think now there's
Apparently there's 4,000.
Close to 4,000, yeah, which is mad, but...
What have you seen? But anyway, we're holding a piece of history here. For me, growing up, collecting shoes, this has always been up there in terms of that list of things to own, isn't it?
I mean, the whole culture that we exist in these days is based around, I'd say this is a massive part of it. Not this shoe specifically, but SB Dunks are a massive part of that culture. Do you mean these kind of shoes are kind of created this grail kind of world that everybody's like finding these grails. Like you said, these are proper grails. Do you mean? And a lot of them shoes have that energy on, or did a lot of storytelling, and a lot of stuff that we reference now with the shoes that we do comes from this kind of thing where you build stories into shoes, you put the details in there.
It's that playful nature that's been taken from it. Taking something that's probably not connected at all to the world and letting it cross over in that big Venn diagram. And it embodies that whole time, and it encapsulates the era, the 2004. It looks 2004, doesn't it? It feels of a time. And one thing that we also, when we reference it a lot, we pick up old shoes, is the materials are insane on this shoe.
Do you know what? To say this shoe is from 2004, which is what, nearly 20 years ago, give or take. I mean, how good is it? How good condition is it? And that's just because the materials that were used on these shoes originally would have been second to none.
The leather is insane on that. That leather is ridiculous.
Just all of it, the suedes, everything. The way it's held up is amazing. To say it's nearly 20 years, the condition's ridiculous.
So I hear you ask, how do I enter to win this pair?
Mate, how do I enter?
No, you should know how to enter this pair. It's the audience I'm asking. And if you do ask, it's tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. and it's £1
It's nothing, that.
to get your entry in for this. All proceeds go to Sport for Life, and it's an amazing cause, and we've spoken about it before. This resize project really gives back, and it's something we're really passionate about. So there's loads of stuff you can read out online about it, but it's something that's really important to us. So until Friday the 30th, you've got all week to get your entry in, £1. It's a no-brainer. Size Launches app, you've got to be a Size Access member, which you all probably are anyway, but make sure you are. Size Launches app, get it downloaded, £1 entry, and it's a grail. What an opportunity to own such an iconic piece of footwear.